Alright, so this is interview number 2, working in the classroom. One of the most surprising things about my whole job was finding out how much work was involved. They say you do 5 solid hours of being up in front of kids and teaching in one day, and you're completely exhausted and drained from that. You go home with a stack of papers this high, 120 papers to grade and enter. That's at least a couple hours. And then you've got your next day's lesson to prepare. To do a good one, that's another 2 or 3 hours. Sometimes it's more than one lesson. Sometimes you need to go to the store. Sometimes you need to find pictures offline. I mean, to make a good lesson, it takes a lot of preparation. So you come home drained and you've got 6 hours of work more to do. And then you're cutting back on your sleep to get it all done. And then you just go in the next day tired from not sleeping, tired from the last day, and you do the whole thing over again and over again and over again for 10 months. And then you're done, and really you need that 2-month summer if you're even going to maintain sanity at all. And that's not even to mention the classroom management, which for me at least was where the vast majority of my energy needed to be focused. The kids there in Philadelphia, they could smell an amateur teacher. I think any kid can. And they will go in for the kill. They definitely pushed every limit, tried my patience in every possible way. You know, calling me names and throwing things at each other and at times at me, and ripping apart things in my room. They tore the faucet off my sink. It would have water fights in class. It was unbelievable. Even pull my telephone off the wall and hide the receiver so I couldn't call anybody. It was a big challenge, and for them it was a great game. And for me, I mean, I'm just thrown in to the water, and I've got to learn how to swim because, you know, unless your class is under control, you can't accomplish any of the things you came in to do. But you really don't have much of a feel for how to do that going in. And I think that's all right. I think a lot of it you really do learn as you go. I felt like, personally, I was disadvantaged by the fact that my administration, in my second school at least, offered next to no help at all. They wouldn't allow me to enforce any kind of meaningful punishment. I couldn't have any say if a kid is suspended or even sent out of my classroom. And yet, for them to give the permission for that to happen, I would need to submit so much paperwork of so many documented preventive measures that I was supposed to have taken, which days I called which parent and how many times I called and how many times I warned them and when I chatted with them about it. And unless I had a big stack of paperwork, they wouldn't do anything as a punishment for the kid, no matter how flagrant their behavior. So eventually you just stop looking to the administration for help, especially when you're treated like if you need outside help, you are being a nuisance and an inconvenience and not doing your own job. And yet, when you can't, you don't really have any punishments of your own to give, you've got to get creative. I made a lot of parent phone calls, a lot of lunch detentions, which are all ways that I only ended up with less time of my own when I'm already struggling to even have time to do everything. But those are some of the most important things I could be doing. So I found those were very helpful, but in the end, the classroom management style that worked best for me was to first of all, keep it real with the kids. Be yourself. Let them get to know you. Be funny. Make fun of yourself. Make fun of them. And just establish a real connection with them. Don't try and be authoritarian because they'll win out. They can tell that you don't have any, you can't do anything to them. And so you've got to win them over in a very human way. And what's tough about that is the way that my classes were set up. I had no time to really individually work with much of anyone, especially when as soon as you sit down with one kid, the next kid is pushing the other kid into a desk. And so if I had been able to spend more time individual with kids, I found they responded so well to that. And they just want to be treated like human beings. And once you have that connection, they will respect that. And they'll also want to learn from you. And they'll want help from you. And they'll trust you that you really do have their best good in mind.